back, everybody. Good to see you. This is our Digital Academy Directors meeting for January 10th of 2023. If you have not done so already, please make sure that you log your attendance. So that's at bit.ly/SCESC-attend. That's how you get your certificate for today, your hours, all that kind of good stuff too. So make sure that you're doing that before you leave here today. For our agenda, I have a couple different things. First off, just some reminders, general things, share time. So hopefully you all have questions or things that you'd like to share with other people either in the room or on the call. I have a few things from our vendors that I'll share. A couple things in the show and tell area as well. So, we can open that conversation up. And then in hour 2 of our meeting, I connected with Jessica Hurdley from Go React, which I think is a pretty neat product. And I thought it might be interesting, or that you might be interested in seeing what they are about too. So it's like a feedback tool that admin teams can use for teachers, and then teachers can use for students too. So I thought it was really cool. Since we didn't have a vendor session in December, because I know December is a little bit hectic, I figured I would just lump it in as a part of this call too. So like I said, we will do that here in hour 2. Other than that, should be just our normal meeting. But with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get things rolling. So just some general welcomes and reminders. If this is your first time joining us, my name is Matthew Mays. I'm a technology consultant here at the Stark County ESC. I think pretty much everybody in here, we have all been in these meetings before. And if I am looking right, I think everybody online is pretty much a returning person too, which is great. If other people in our area that share your role and you think they may want to be a part of our network, please, ask them to join. We are open. We have our website online. This has just about everything you might need for being the Digital Academy Director. I have this up. I can just join and show you over here too. Remember, this has links to all kinds of different things, including our entire meeting archive with the recording. We have our resource guides, which we'll be checking this out here in just a little bit. And then we also have the vendor series. So as we continue to invite people from the outside, I'll include these videos and links and other things on this page as well. So lots to find on our website. And I am constantly adding things to that too. So should you see something that is out of place, or if you're looking for other things and you don't see it on the website, let me know and I can always add it for you. Like I said, as a part of our vendor series, we have already had one of those this year. The second one is today at 2. So like I said, that's just really the hour 2 of this call. I already have next month lined up. So that's with Edmentum. We have a new rep for Edmentum. And so I thought it'd be kind of a nice thing to connect with her if you're interested. Edmentum is getting larger by the day, seemingly, as they cannibalize other companies. So if you're interested in their products, or if you are already a customer and you would like to hear more about what they have to share or how they may better serve you, then I have that set up with our new rep. So if you know of other companies or products or whatever that you want to meet with or that you might be interested in, let me know. I'd be happy to help facilitate that for not only you, but for all the people in our network as well. So like I said, today, January 10th, that one here is happening. And then on February 9th at 1, you can access that too. And I think later on in the slides here, there's a link to add that to your calendar if you would like as well. Okay. All right. So our next section here, we will do our district share. This is, if you have any questions, you can ask them out to the group. I'm gonna shrink my screen here a little bit so that way I can edit these as we go too. The first thing that we will talk about here is our problems of practice. So in the last couple of months since we have met, is there anything, new questions that have come about, anything that you would like to ask of the group that you might want to seek help for? Welcome, good to see you. And this is that awkward wait time too. Nothing new, right? I mean, there's not really a whole lot going on or hasn't in the month of December. It seemed like a pretty quiet month as I was looking around for some different things. So ladies, do you have anything? I know you're just getting set up. Any questions, anything?
When is our first snow day?
Yeah. A real problem of practice, right? Do you get Monday? You get Monday, right? Yeah. Yeah, you get Monday. That's okay. Okay, so we'll just jump ahead then. Anything from your district, from your area that you want to share with your group, things that you have made your way through, things that you think other districts may benefit from hearing? Quiet group. And for those of you who just joined, I'm going to put this back up for you too. So this is going to get you to our slide. So bit.ly/DADS110. Okay, so as you're thinking about things you may want to share.
I don't know. Karen looks like she's talking.
I think she has somebody in her office.
Oh, okay.
You're okay. Yeah, it looks like she's talking with somebody else. We could guess what she's talking about. She probably didn't hear us, right? Yeah. Hey, Karen, we just want to confirm that you have someone in your office, like that you don't actually have something to share and your microphone is muted.
That is correct.
Okay, that's okay.
I'll probably hide my face though, so you don't have to
You're
see
fine.
me. We're working. It's our cumulative exam week, and so
Yeah, absolutely. We
great.
just wanted to make sure that that we were hearing you correctly. If you have something to share,
thanks.
it's good to see you.
You too.
See, that was a sneaky way to get somebody to talk to, or just be like, "Oh, he's running." See, and you can say like, "Oh, Joe, it looks like your screen is frozen," but it's really not. It's just a profile picture. Okay, well, if there is nothing to share, that is more than okay. Before we move on to the next section, I wanted to remind you, we talked about this at our last meeting. There's a grant opportunity that is out there and available to you. This is STEM Education Research Grant. Those are due by February 24th, so there's still time if you would like to try and access some of those funds. As we keep on rolling here, I have vendor updates as our next section. As I mentioned before, we have a new rep. Let me blow this up a little bit. We have a new rep for Edmentum, which again, Edmentum isn't just Edmentum. They are made up of a whole bunch of different products now. So they have courseware, they have Play-Doh, they also have Apex. So don't be surprised if I fold this underneath Edmentum at our next meeting. I think we're all kind of aware of that change. However, Barbie Hickey is our new rep there. We also have that vendor series meeting with her next month. So if you click these little orange letters down here, that reddish orange, that will take you to Google Calendar where you can add that for yourself. So that's 1 p.m. on February 9th, where we'll get to meet with her and you can ask questions and they'll show some of what their product can do. And you can ask your really specific questions too for if you have one of those products in your own district. Other than that, things are pretty much the same across the board as far as our reps go. Before every one of our meetings, I always reach out to our reps and basically say like, hey, do you have any new updates or, is there anything that you think our people should know? And we got a couple things back this time. just to kind of show you, or as a frame of reference for that vendor meeting next month, this is kind of a like an offerings sheet that Edmentum has that Barbie passed along for us. So this is showing you what grades are available. I know that was a question that came through actually to Jay and I yesterday as far as like, what product has, down to which grades, if you're looking for, specific things, especially like credit recovery or whatnot. So kind of lays out everything that Edmentum has to offer. And then in a similar vein, Mike Venros, who was previously our Apex rep, which is now an Edmentum product, but still handles all the Apex stuff if you're an Apex district. He passed this along, which again is just, kind of showing those offerings, showing some of the things that are available, which we don't really have to spend a whole lot of time on, but it's just nice to see, kind of all of those different things in one nice, neat place. In terms of other product updates, we got something back from FlexPoint, so they just wanted to pass along all of their current offerings. And then you'll notice that there's a little star if you check down in the speaker notes. If you're on the slides, he wanted to extend an opportunity to join their user community if you're not already. So if you're a FlexPoint rep, or if you're a FlexPoint district and you want to join that community, you're more than welcome to do that. We also heard back from Jeff Martin, who was the focus of our first vendor series. So that was School PLP. I know he is trying to break into our area. So if you would like to investigate that product, you can hear it from the schools. That's the name of their upcoming webinar. That's on February 22nd. And you can reach out to him with that email. Other than that, this is basically that same thing that I shared with you on that slide. So that's just kind of showing you what Edmentum has to offer. And again, if you look in the speaker notes, and you'll see what Mike had to share in addition to those different things.
Is there anyone local that uses schools ELP?
Not yet. Nope. But this was an opportunity to, I guess, hear from schools that are using it, in case you were interested or in case you're in need of sort of break out to something different, then you can actually hear it from districts that are using it. When he came to visit in, what would that have been, October? It was a decent product.
We had reached out to them during, must have been the summer before we came back after COVID.
Yep.
I want to say Cuyahoga ESD was using, somehow we must have given us connections for that, but they were relatively new.
Yeah, the vibe I got was that they were pretty big in Pennsylvania at the moment, and they're looking to expand out of that. So, yeah, in terms of like what their reach is in our area or even in Ohio at large, I can't really speak to, but I'm sure if you went to this webinar, I'm sure Jeff would be able to answer all your questions and whatnot too. So, like I said, I thought it was a decent product. If you go onto our website, you can see, like, I recorded that whole vendor series. So if you wanted to kind of speed through that, even you can see kind of what it looks like or what it has to offer for you. So, but it's always different when we hear from people who are actually using the thing
Right.
too. So that might be nice to hear how the districts are doing that. Okay, any other updates that came through that might be on your radar? It's been quite a couple months. Quite a couple months, that's okay. No updates, that's fine. Show and tell. This is one of my favorite parts of our meetings. This can be about just about anything. If you have something fun to share, something that came across your desk that you think the rest of us might benefit from. I have two. If you are not a part of GEG Ohio with Eric Kurtz, join up. It's great. A bunch of people are on there sharing wonderful things every single day. And it's just a good place to be. So if you're not a part of that group and you want to join, go ahead and join up. And then I also wanted to highlight, Eric has been doing a new series lately that he calls EdTech Links of the Week. And basically it's like a nerdy talk show every Monday where he has a couple different things that he traditionally focuses on. So usually 3 or 4 things from outside, and then another 3 or 4 things that Eric has created himself. So you can see from this most recent week from yesterday, these are the things that he has to share. Basically, the way that it works is, he'll highlight the thing. So he'll say, keep the score, and then he'll click on it and kind of talk through what it is and how you might be able to use it in your classroom. Okay, so a really fun resource, a really fun way to connect with the online community and keep note of new things that are being created and how people are using those in their classrooms. Okay, anyone else have anything fun? Either on the call or in the room?
Do you want to mention his keynotes coming up in Ohio?
Yeah, I actually have that here in
Right.
the next couple of slides, but yes, thank you. All right, I have a couple things. First off, OETC is back again. In their words, they're under new leadership for this upcoming year. That's February 14th, 15th, and 16th down in Columbus. They, I think, have a really good plan. They have a lot of really nice tracks for many different roles within a district, which I think is cool. And you should know that the early bird pricing ends on July 31st. Yesterday, they just put out the keynotes, and Eric is actually one of the keynotes for this year too. I think he's on day 3, right, Jay?
Yes.
So
31st,
what's that?
January
What
31st,
did I say?
July.
July, sorry. Yes, January 31st. I was looking right at it, but I said July. I'm sorry. So yes, January 31st, early bird pricing ends. And like I said, Eric is day 3 as the keynote speaker. So if you're interested in going, obviously try and get that in before the 31st. And also take note too that for most of these conferences, including the next few that I'm going to share, most of the time, if you are a presenter, you get to go for free. So, those windows are obviously months in advance. So if you're interested in going to any one of these conferences, put in a presenter's, pitch and see what happens. The worst thing that happens is they say no and you pay the early bird fee as it is. So, definitely something to consider. Coming in March, we have Neotech, which is basically like the ITC just north of us here. So that is March 14th, totally free. It's also on demand and online. So if you can't attend on the 14th, you can always check up on those recordings. If I remember correctly, they have a series of videos that are like completely pre-recorded. And then they also are recording live throughout the day on the 14th. And then they chop those up and make them available, after the fact. So if you can't attend, they have those available for you too. All of that information can be found at neotechconference.org. Similar to OETC, they have a bunch of really good themes this year. So again, a little something for everybody if you're trying to expand your knowledge. And if you're looking for something that's more Google specific, then the Ohio Google Summit is returning to Kalahari, and that's May 15th, 16th, and 17th. And then those items will also be on demand. This is not a free conference, so you'll definitely want to make sure that you get in on their early bird pricing, and that ends on Saturday, March 11th. So definitely take advantage of that. For all 3 of these conferences, I will be presenting. So if you're going, let me know. We can connect while we're there too, and hang out somewhere different too, which is always fun. So 3 great conferences. Like I said, they are really wonderful. They're 3 that I look forward to every single year, and there's a little something for everybody. One of the resources that came across my desk here in this past few months is this chat generator, which I thought was pretty slick. So as soon as this decides it wants to load, you can kind of see a GIF of how this works. So Text Chat Animator sets up realistic text conversations. What I really like about it is that you can customize the faces and all of the names. and it looks enough like a, texting conversation, but not exactly, which I think is important. So, we're not trying to use this to dupe anybody, but, if you're thinking about, language arts classroom, or if you're thinking about, character interactions and whatnot, this is a really good way to modernize that and kind of keep the kids engaged in what that might look like. So to make that happen, you just go to your texting story maker, and you can click the link that's at the bottom of that slide too. And it basically is already running when you get there. It's showing a 4-person conversation. So that's kind of the maximum amount of people that you could have. And then everything else is like open field. So you'll notice that we have a conversation here between Naomi, Kevin, Bob, and Jesse. But at any point in time, I can change this up and put in my name. And now all of a sudden you'll notice that those drop downs become my name instead. Here in those text threads, that is also my name. You'll notice a little blue cloud with the upward facing arrow. If you select it, it will take you to all of your files where you can find pictures. Let me see if I have one here. That is me. We'll open that up. And now all of a sudden my picture is a part of that chat conversation. So very, very simple to set up. And then instead of the text that is in there by default, you can change it to anything you want. So the text goes here, and you can type, and those will all appear for you. If you get to the end and you're like, I'm not really done with my conversation, I need to keep this thing going. If you just select add another message, then you can add whatever that thing may be. You'll also notice that it allows for emojis to be added. So again, we're talking authentic conversations here that characters could be having. In order to pull those emoji in, you would want to use something like Emoji Copy, copy it from there and then paste it in, just because most of our keyboards don't have the ability to do those realistic emoji. Now, what you saw in my slides was a GIF that is turned off because it's going to save it as like a video file first. But toggle that to on. The first thing that it does is it downloads that video file, so that WEBM file. As soon as that's complete, then it will start your download of the GIF too. So know that you're basically getting 2 every single time, and you cannot turn that video download off. Not really sure, seems kind of quirky, but just know that you're getting 2 of those downloads every single time. And if this is something that you're interested in using with your kids, then you get your directions and all that other kind of fun stuff down here at the bottom too. So really simple, really easy to use to pull in, not just for our purposes and whatnot, but it's a really great way for your friends back in district to include something, like I said, new and authentic within their lessons as well. Okay, and then seems like the product of the hour lately, ChatGPT. How many of you are familiar with ChatGPT? Nobody. Okay, ChatGPT is something that you need to know about because your kids know about it. This is, I don't even know where to begin. This is generated by a company called OpenAI. And essentially, this is an artificial intelligence tool that is unbelievably powerful and awesome when harnessed for good, right? So it has the ability to do all kinds of things, from generating text to writing code, to fixing code, to answering complex questions, to all kinds of crazy things. It's really, really cool. So if you're interested in trying this out, click that little link chain down in the bottom of your slides, and then we'll see if I can get in here. Okay, so basically the way that it works, think of what you would normally go to Google for, right? Where you would say how tall is a giraffe? Okay. You could type something like that in here down at the field in the bottom, but you can even go more granular. So you could say something like, write a story about a lion and a frog. For whatever reason, those two animals are interacting. When I hit enter, it is now generating that story for me from scratch. I am not doing anything other than saying, hey, do you think you could, do this thing for me? And now all of a sudden it is writing the story for me. I gave it this much and it is writing everything for me. So again, I told you this before when we had our first meeting. I like to think of myself as like the kid in the back of the class who's trying to figure out, his way around how to do things in class. It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I really like about this is that you can even ask it to like mask what it's writing in certain ways. So you could say things like, write a high school essay of mice and men, and it'll do it. You could say, write a small paragraph at a third grade reading level, and it'll do it. You could say, generate a lesson plan for me on space, and it'll do it in lesson plan format. You could say in 100 words, write whatever, and it'll do it. Like somebody throw out a prompt. Like we just finished our lion and frog story. So like this is on here, it's ready. And is good. Lion felt pride, or his pride swell as the frog's words. Puffed out his chest and he said, indeed, I am King Leo, the ruler of all the animals in the jungle. What can I do for you? Right? Like it would have taken me forever to write all of this out, but with one question in 30 seconds, maybe, it has generated all of this for us. It's pretty wild. Somebody throw out a prompt just for fun. Something that you're thinking of.
I was just going to mention, there's a student from Princeton just developed GPT-0 that will detect if this was written
If it's
by
being used.
AI.
Yes.
That's interesting. The first thing I'm thinking
Right
is
now,
brain writing. Do you know how
Mhm.
often this is your brain writing?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, like it's not, I don't want you to think of this as like, oh, this is something nefarious. Our kids are using this to try and get around the system. There are really good benefits to this kind of a product, right? Like especially as adults, like this can, and if for nothing else, as like a starting point, super helpful. Even like as you're working with kids, you can ask it to do things incorrectly and then have your students go in and correct it, or like edit, something incorrectly. Let's see. I did this one here, but I'll do it live. Like, name your favorite movie? Somebody.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. Perfect. So I could say, write a movie review for Uncle Buck. In the style of Siskel, I think I spelled that right, and Ebert. Okay, and now it is taking itself as if it were Siskel and Ebert, and it is giving us a movie review of Uncle Buck. It's got humor and heart. John Candy is the titular role. He's likable. Takes care of his brother's children.
Charging for his product. The
Zero. I don't know if he charges or not.
So here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. Let's blow that conversation out even larger, right? So this is currently a free product. It is currently in what they say is like their beta mode, okay? Right now, ChatGPT is packed with information prior to 2021, but it is constantly evolving and learning based on the questions that are being asked of it. So yes, its knowledge base is 2021, but you'll notice that like over here on the side, there are these like thumbs up, thumbs down. If when this is running at full capacity, I don't know if you guys saw that little message at the top that said like, we're really overloaded right now. Normally there's a button that says like regenerate. So if it gives you this script, for example, and you didn't like it, you can hit regenerate and it's a completely different script, or it's a completely different result than what it showed you there, just a moment ago. It is capable of doing that too, which is fun. But by people saying like, yep, that was a good response, or like, no, I don't really like that, it's learning based on what we're giving it. I asked it things like, give me a list of all of the Stark County track and field champions from, since 1975. And it was like, sorry, we don't really have that information right now, but we're learning and we're evolving and, all that kind of thing too. So it's not like, I don't want you to think of this as like the fount of all knowledge, because it does have its limitations. But I mean, it is an incredibly powerful item. The earlier or later last week, they came out with like this big post about like its current valuation, and I want to say it was like 29 or it was either 29 or 39 billion, like just this product that we're looking at here. From what I know, behind the scenes, Google has marked this as like high priority, like number one red alert. Before we get to the summer, we have a product that's similar to this. So I say that to tell you, like, this isn't going away. We are already interacting with chatbots as it is. So like, think of the last time you went on like Amazon and you were, dissatisfied, or you needed to return something and it was like, what was wrong with this product? You type the thing in, it responds to you. That's not a person sitting at a computer. That's the AI that's doing that, right? So we are already having those, lower stakes interactions with this type of thing. More and more companies are already doing this. So we don't typically, lump them into the same conversation, but like Bing has this product or a very similar product as a part of their service, as well as one of their ways to try and compete and stay up with Google. So, like I said, the more and more these kinds of things become normalized, people are like, oh yeah, that's nothing. Like, I'll talk with a chatbot before I talk with, somebody in real life. And now all of a sudden that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just becoming a part of normal everyday life. So you'll see reports like New York City, I think, was actually talking with Diane, who I share a cubicle with over here. Her daughter works in a district in North Carolina, and they just drew a real hard line and said like, we're banning Chat GPT on our networks, on our district devices. Like, that's fine, but it's not going anywhere, right? It's much the same as like, when you think about when I was in school, our teachers would always say things like, oh, well, you're never going to have a computer in your pocket at all times. So you need to learn how to do, these algorithms or whatever. And looking back on that, it's like, okay, like now I have this complex device that can do that and then some, like, joke's on you, kind of thing. Like, this is one of those items. Like, we are at the genesis of that right now, but in 5 to 10 years, this is going to be commonplace. Thoughts on seeing it? Thoughts on hearing those things? Like, so none of your districts are talking about it at the moment, or haven't had conversations about it at the moment?
After you explained it, I had heard my English teachers discussing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a tool that you
And it
could
looks like there's a beta out now that you can use. And as a teacher, you can sign up for when it's the
Full blown, yeah.
based.
I
So-
asked my English teacher just now, she said she heard of it and wanted to get it blocked or whatever, but
course.
she's like, you can write whole essays and IEPs,
Mhm.
which I do. So it was just funny, like the more specific they are, the better IEP it writes. And I just thought, yikes.
I'm trying to think of one of these I have. So this one here, this is what I wrote about our high impact conference for educators, which is like in the summer, and it's a lot. And so I was like, hey, I just want you to summarize this thing. So here this is, I want you to summarize this into something better. And it came up with like a full email blast and, compacted all of my words and made it sound and look much better. So like I said, like, it's not, I don't want to put this out and then have the reaction be like, oh, this is terrible, we need to block this, right? There are a lot of benefits to
Yeah.
this type of thing, not just even for school applications. good things in here. So it's, you know, it is a conversation that needs to be had within districts.
Does it know other languages too? Like you can tell it like write a story from Japanese or something?
Yep. Let's see. Story. How about let's do this. Write a one paragraph story. Actually, let's do this. Write a poem in Japanese characters about flowers. Let's see. About flowers, however, please note, often follows strict syllable. Well, yeah, I don't have that complex style. If you're looking for a simple poem in Japanese, here's the one I can do. So if anybody can read that, and then they translate it out for you. Yep.
Can you tell it like program a calculator in C++ and it generates the code?
I have not tried such a thing, but I do know that it can generate code. It can generate and it can correct mistakes, which is awesome. But yeah, in terms of like specific, like I think you would probably have to give it something and just say like whatever the task is, you know what I mean? Then that's just something I don't know enough about to know if it was doing it correctly or whatever. Can you think of a specific example?
I don't know.
No, okay. If you go here on the bottom, I included that little link for you too. So if you click that link chain, you'll be taken straight to ChatGPT. They ask for you to create an account. So consider that also. I do know that there is an app version of this as well. That's one of those like freemium apps, but it's free as it is online. So like, don't pay the money if you're, trying to do the app. We had somebody in SST come over yesterday and she's like, oh boy, like, I shared this at a meeting last week and she was like, oh boy, like I really like that. Like I got the app and like, I just went ahead and did the $49.99 a year. Like that's what I was supposed to do. Right. I was like, no, like, no, it's not what you're supposed to do. Like, it's all free on here. Like, why bother? Now, like, if you're watching this video in the future, know that it's free right now in January of 2023. But what happens to it from here? Like I said, I know that behind the scenes, Google is trying to create its own version of this. And it may just end up being, we buy this and now it's theirs. So who knows, but it's really fun. There are a lot of applications. I think it's one of those things that if you frame it with students as like, here are the ways that it can help us, or, we're not writing these big, long, essays, but, how can it help make our writing better? Looking for improvement opportunities. If you click those orange letters, kind of reddish there, I sent you here to this. This was just put out a couple of days ago by a doctor at University of Massachusetts Amherst, and it's really good. Basically, she kind of breaks down, like if you've never seen it before, if you're trying to communicate what it is to other people, this is really, really good. And she has said like she's going to continue to update this too. So this is going to be an evolving document, but basically breaks it down what it is, what it's capable of. It even has like extras if you're interested in looking at those. But it's a really good way to frame the conversation. And it's a nice thing to like share out with administrative teams, to share out with your teachers, even parents. Like, I'm sure kids are going to be using this at home, or parents have already seen this thing. But it's a nice thing to kind of just show and say, like, this is what it is. This is what it's capable of doing. Here's some examples of what that might look like. Like this one here is a quiz with test questions too. So it has done everything, including all the formatting for you. So really, really cool. The one application that I saw, actually listened to, it was a podcast it's called How Did This Get Made? It's three people and they watch terrible movies and then they just riff on it and joke for, an hour and a half. But ChatGPT was able to like not only understand that that was a podcast, but that like it generated a script for them, and it was like in each individual's voice, cracking jokes that they would be making, even like inside things that like only a person that would like listen to these would really pick up on. It knew it and it generated those same kind of jokes and stuff. So super duper powerful tool. But again, it's something that hopefully your district is having conversations about.
What percentage of the time would you say that it's at capacity and not able to use it?
So it was there now. Am I still there? It's there now.
Yeah.
It's just not, like I don't have all of the features, I should say. So like I'm still doing it. I'm still, it's still responding to me. But like I said, I noticed that a couple of the things that I think I should be seeing, I'm not seeing.
I was
So
trying to go to it and it kept saying it was at capacity.
yeah,
Now I'm nothing though, and it wants my phone number. Is that you put in your phone number?
I did to get the account only because I knew this is a thing that I will be talking about and sharing about.
You did.
But yeah, but that's, read their policies and stuff to make up that decision for yourself. But if you wanted to learn more, down here in the corner, they have their own Discord, which is, the whole online community asking, questions, having the conversations and stuff too. And then they even have like their facts section, that FAQ. So yeah, I am not going to ever tell you to give away your information, but, make up that decision for yourself and see what you think.
So that's typical to get, like, when you try to go to the website to get it to just say that it's at capacity, that means like in the moment?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. I will say, I've noticed that I've gotten that less now that I have an account. I don't know if there's anything to that, or like if it knows that like I'm returning, that I don't know. But I think I have,
At the same link.
yes, yep. And I think I have only, since having that account, I don't recall ever being locked out. Yeah, I don't think I've been locked out since having it, and that's been, a couple weeks. Whereas before I was getting that and it was like, oh, do you want to be notified when, we're available? I never got notified. I just kept going back to the site until all of a sudden it popped up. But yeah, and like I said, it's still beta, still trying to work out, the kinks and whatnot too. So just know that it is out there and is workable. Now, I also want to frame the conversation in this way to say, like, they are the first, they are not the last. There are going to be all kinds of duplicates that come out and all kinds of like clones that will be not nearly as good and will likely be more nefarious. So like places that are trying to collect your data or are trying to learn about you, and now we're going to spin it. So, be mindful of that as like new ones come about, or people say like, oh, this is the new ChatGPT. I'd be pretty wary, especially in the next, few months. Just like I said, because other people are probably seeing this and go, okay, how can we capitalize on this? How can we dupe this? How can we call ours ChatGTP and trick people into thinking that it's the same thing? And to that we have their information and now we can, do all those things. So yeah, just be mindful of that. There will be clones. There will be many different variations and versions, and they will not be what they say they are. So just keep that in mind too. Any other thoughts about ChatGPT before we move on? It's pretty wild. What a time to be alive, right? All right. If you do have other things that you want to discuss, whether they be in that share area, or if you have other big topics that you want to discuss in any of these meetings, please, by all means, I would love that. That takes away the heavy lifting for me and makes it more personal to you. So if you have things that you want to discuss, please send those forward, and I would love to include them in as a part of these meetings. So this is the end of our official meeting, our part one. If you would like to leave, you're more than welcome to. At 2:00, we have a vendor coming in. She is from Go React. So this is Jessica. She's going to join us here in about 15 minutes. So if you're staying, love to have you. That would be